you've grown up with me, know me during my college days at Clark Atlanta University, or more so from my extensive career in the music business, you may know me more commonly as Steve-O. My former softball players may recognize me as Coach Steve-O. Some of my students call me Mr. Steven or Mr. Dingle. Well, no matter how familiar you've become with me, I'm looking forward to serving the city of Atlanta by winning the election this November, and you knowing me as Councilman Stephen Dingle of District 11. I want to thank Councilwoman Marcy Collier Overstreet for the great job she's done and continues to do, serving the communities of District 11 and the people of Atlanta at large. And I wish her the absolute best as she pursues the seat of Atlanta City Council President. Atlanta, Georgia remains one of the most dynamic cities in the country, a city that continues to raise the bar in the realms of progress, community, business, and culture. Atlanta makes history every single day, whether it's being ranked one of the best cities to live in, our place in the domestic and international market, or our global influence. We have found ways to make our city one of the strongest cities in the entire world. But even with all of our success, there's always places where we can improve. And how do we do that? Together. As your councilman, I will bring strength, purpose, and pride to our city government. I will open my doors to work with anyone who wants to see our city thrive, while respecting Atlantans and ensuring our community's preservation. This includes the people who live here, work here, get an education here, and even those who come to visit. Atlanta is always stronger when we are united, and it is my job to ensure we always understand that. District 11 will always be one of Atlanta's strongest districts and will remain one of the most significant areas in our city. From Cascade to Ben Hill, from Niskey Lake to Greenbrier, several former Atlanta mayors still reside in this district. District 11 produces some of the best Atlanta has to offer. We will make sure our communities are safe. We will bring more job and career opportunities. We will take even better care of our elders and senior citizens. We will provide our children with more programs and activities that will give them the absolute best chances to succeed and thrive. This is only the beginning. It's a long road to the election in November, and I plan on seeing and hearing from all of you throughout the city and on the campaign trail. I want to thank my wife for always standing by me and trusting me in my endeavors. To our children, thank you for being the best kids ever. To my family, friends, community associates, Atlanta City government, and my fellow Atlantans, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be a candidate to serve you. My name is Stephen Dingle, and I am running for Atlanta City Council, District 11. God bless you.
For sure, Stephen. It basically answered all the questions right there. So let's start at the
I have a
very beginning.
question.
Go ahead, Nora.
You said you were in the music industry. Did you ever go to Tallahassee and like attend music conferences? Because you look very familiar.
No, I never went to Tallahassee for a music conference. The only time I went to Tallahassee was, it was either high school or high school. It was an AAU tournament that I went to Tallahassee for
Okay,
something. Yeah, we went to FAMU, Florida State, like stadium and stuff. So yeah, never went to
got
Tallahassee
it.
for music.
For sure. So this is your first time here, Stephen. So I want to start at the very beginning. What's a childhood memory or experience that shaped who you are today?
Mm. Two things to be quick. One thing is I'm a huge fan of posse stories. So like Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, Justice League, Marvel, anything that requires a group of people to accomplish a mission from that young to adulthood, and they even lead into the music industry, realizing like the team that an artist needs to be successful. I just love anything that requires a team to accomplish something. And then secondly is, as you can see, I'm in Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Braves, Atlanta Hawks, Georgia, everything. So yeah, the 1998 Super Bowl when the Broncos beat the Atlanta Falcons, that's the first time I ever cried over sports, and it set me on a path of heartbreak and and high blood pressure being an Atlanta Falcons fan. So those posse stories and being an Atlanta Falcons fan, get my heart broken in 1998. Those things really helped shape me to who I am today.
Who was your biggest role model growing up, and what did you learn from them?
Oh, my father. He's no longer with us. He's been gone for about 11 years now. But my father is definitely Jerry Dinkle, definitely my biggest role model. And I always give credit to three people: my dad, Malcolm X, and it's unconventional, but Ti. But yeah, my father. He just to me, of course, he wasn't perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect person, let alone a perfect parent. But he really set the standard for what I believe manhood is to be. And all three of those gentlemen, like I think I'm a culmination of those three men and what I think manhood is. And Malcolm X, his resilience and his authoritative aura, you could say, and him just having that vision, the mission that even against all odds, he knew he was here for a purpose. And then lastly, I think he just added to my confidence. Just being from Georgia, being from Atlanta, and hearing someone just be so really cocky, but I don't know. I can listen to it today, and I even use it to, promote my children and get them to like build self-esteem and self-confidence, because just hearing him on the track and even, beating them several times around the city, he just exudes confidence. And he, again, is one of those men who just never let anything get in his way, or get in his way. And he makes sure to let you know that you're not going to stop him. So, yeah, those are the three men who helped make me who I am.
For sure. My bad. So my last question is, what was your first job and what did it teach you about life?
My first job was Zaxby's. I don't know if everybody got a Zaxby's where they're from, but it's a chicken spot that started here in Statesboro, Georgia. But I worked there in 10th grade. Well, yeah, I'm going to say that's my first job. I helped my dad out at Bronner Brothers because Atlanta is the home of Bronner Brothers, a hair care company, and we got the Bronner Brothers show. It happens twice a year. That was huge. So I used to sell magazines there. But my first official job at 16 and 10th grade, all the way through high school, was Zaxby's. And I've always been, because I played sports all my life, and like I said, my father, I've always been huge on being on time. As you can see here, I was 5-10 minutes early to this interview, and I just think that job just helped me understand being dependent on. I was one of those guys who I played every role. As I was a cashier, I cooked the food, I prepared the food, I would get there early and clean, stay late. And if I didn't go to college, they really tried to make me a manager to keep me from going to college. It's like, we'll just, we'll give you a promotion and make you a manager. You could be district manager one day and all. You can maybe own your own Zaxby's. And I was just like, nah, I got to go to college. So Zaxby's just prepared me to, like I said, that responsibility of being dependable and understand the value of really adding every tool to your toolbox. Like me, it was only me and another guy who could do everything. And I just understood the value of being reliable, and also you can have a little more leeway to sneak and do things when they can count on you. So a lot of my friends who worked there too, they were getting in trouble a lot, but I would do the same thing and they would let me slide because I was so reliable and so dependent.
For sure. Nora?
Oh man, you got the softball questions from Gray. So time to bring the home run. All right. So I looked up Atlanta's top issues and I see it includes the economy, inflation, and housing affordability. So in your opinion, what are 3 things that you think the candidate that you're running on could have improved on, and how do you intend to do so when you win?
Yeah, just to be clear, there's no incumbent in my race. My current council member, Marcy Coy Overstreet's running for Atlanta City Council. So my race, specifically my position, it's a hot seat. It's 10 of us in this race. So there's no incumbent I'm running against in this race. And we love Marcy. But for Atlanta specifically, affordability is a major thing for me and the city. I've always said that Atlanta has always relied on being an equitable city. Atlanta is the first city to have federally funded housing projects. Black ones, we call them projects, but Atlanta was the first city in the country to have that, because we always understood that, yeah, it may not be the best. You may not have the best house, the biggest house, a big mansion, but it's important that people can afford to live here, because we always knew maybe not Atlanta was going to be this, but we always knew that in order for Atlanta to be special in this country, that we needed to have affordability. And I think we're getting away from that to where Atlanta has grown so much and really become an international city. I think we're kind of catering to people who don't live here, who haven't made this city what it is. And it is time to make sure we get back and take care of our own. Like Jermaine Dupri said in the songs, people don't visit, they move out here. And part of that attraction was the affordability of it. And if Atlanta loses the affordability, which we seem to be trending that way, we're no longer the Atlanta people know and love. And I think, I'm sorry, that's probably about wealth, or you can repeat it so I can make sure I got the right part.
No, I was just saying, what are the issues that you think that, okay, since you're not running against anyone, what do you think could have been improved on in the next year when you win? Because obviously it's a city council. So where do you think they were lacking at?
Yeah. So again, I just want to be clear. I'm not running against an incumbent. Like I said, I'm running against people, but just not somebody who is holding the seat now. But for her, the only really critique I have of the previous council member, which she still holds the position today, is just that the visibility aspect of being, she's always been accessible to me. But as I'm on the campaign trail and I'm talking to people and I'm letting them know that I'm accessible, I'm here in front of you. Here's my number. Here's my email. You can find me on social media, whatever, however you need to talk to me or express your concerns. If you need to cuss, if you need to yell, if you just need to vent, I am here. And a lot of people just said they haven't been able to reach to their council person or even know who they were. So I don't know if that's a testament of her not getting out or people not doing their research, but that's really the only critique I have of her. It's just that a lot of people just feel like they've never met her, or they don't know who she was, or she never came to them, or something like that. And that's just something I'm discovering on the campaign trail. So of course there are other issues to tackle, and we can get that. But as far as me personally, she's been pretty good. Like she's been a strong council member. That's why she's running for city council president, because she's been so trusted on the city council. But I will name some things like Southwest Atlanta is definitely neglected when it comes to the growth of Atlanta in general. When people think of Atlanta, you think of our downtown, our midtown, our Buckhead. That's where, we got the new stadium for the Falcons and the Atlanta United, the Braves new stadium. I know that's kind of Metro Atlanta, but it's basically Atlanta. And then if you all have seen that Live Nation is supposed to build that huge attraction downtown. But when people come here for these events, Super Bowl, World Cup, etc., they're not really coming to Southwest Atlanta. So we have to poke our chest out a little bit more and talk to some developers and other people that really bring some money, income, development to Southwest Atlanta to make sure people come over to the side. But of course, without displacement, the culture of Southwest Atlanta is still valuable to the city, because we still have several mayors that live over here. We still have a historic culture, but we just need to elevate a little bit.
Okay. So someone asked in the chat about immigration, which you don't have to get into, but what are some ways that you think you'll be able to ensure that, historical Atlanteans won't be forgotten? Because you mentioned that people are moving in, but like some people feel like they're forgotten. So you said accessibility is one way. What are policies that you'll implement to make sure that that doesn't happen?
Yeah. So this is concerning immigration or like gentrification type thing. I just want to make sure.
I want you to answer the gentrification, because you can't impact immigration, but gentrification you definitely can. And that is impacting people on a daily basis. And that'll be something you can definitely impact. We see it all over Miami, New York City. The entire country is impacted, unfortunately, by gentrification. And Atlanta is no stranger to it, I'm sure. So what are things, like you said, that's a good summary and good term to ensure that Atlanteans don't get left behind as people come in?
Yeah, fortunately for my district, Southwest Atlanta, we have I know Atlanta has the highest wealth gap in the country, but in Southwest Atlanta, we are a prime example of that. But due to the fact that we have some black millionaires, some black lawyers, black attorneys, black business people, and politicians, that kind of prevents gentrification from happening in this area. And not saying it can't. We've seen historic, like West End is a strong black district where our colleges are, Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark Atlanta. We got a historic mall, but that's about to be changed into a development. But it's still a lot of it's black dense over there. So it shouldn't be too bad. But for over here, we have a lot of black money to where you can't displace black folks. And there's a lot of black ownership, people who own the development, the housing, etc. So we have, I'm not saying it's not a word, but we kind of have some things in place to kind of help prevent it. But also Atlanta has a system called the MPU system, which if you live in the city of Atlanta, it's 26 MPUs, which are neighborhood planning units. So if you live in Atlanta, you're part of an MPU. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's basically a collection of neighborhoods and also whatever businesses are in that area. And every month they have a meeting, and every department from the city is present on that meeting. The police department, fire and rescue, parks and rec, public works, watershed, etc. And when developments coming to certain MPUs, the residents of the MPU or the business owners in the MPU, they can determine whether they want it or not. And a lot of people don't know that. And I always tell people, I'm in a certain MPU where it's only 1,000 or so people, and we don't have any businesses in ours. We're just a collection of neighborhoods. But there's like roughly 1,100 people in my MPU. Only the max amount of people I've seen on my MPU meeting is maybe 30, but on average it's 20. So you're giving 20 people ability to make a decision for 1,100. That's crazy. And that's the same. You could probably do the math around certain MPUs have 3,000 and then 50 people on the meeting. But they have a lot of power in the sense that if a bowling alley wants to buy, or somebody who wants to build a bowling alley wants to buy a building in the community, they have to check with the MPU. Of course, you got to check with the city and all that. But it's things that where the community has pipelines to determine, like, you know what, we don't want that. Or we have too many liquor stores over here. We don't want another liquor store. We have too many tires. I've talked to the community of this, and they'll say, look, Mr. Dingle, we have too many tire places over here. Like, we don't need another one. So on these MPU meetings, the neighborhood can determine what they want to be present and what they don't want. And of course, the city can override, but through those pipelines, because the city council persons on those meetings as well, they fight for you at City Hall to say, my community doesn't want this here. Or they can say, hey, we need this here. and we go out and find the developers for it. So the prevent gentrification is just making sure the city hears the community, and the community shows up at those platforms or pipelines, so the city or city hall knows what they want and don't want.
Okay, so my last question is, are I'm sure you're aware that Atlanta is a sanctuary city. Do you support it? Why or why not?
I don't. Atlanta's not a sanctuary city. If we are, I didn't know that, but we're not a sanctuary city as far as I know. But you said, do I support? This is my thing. I support my constituents, Atlanta. Like, if you're a resident or citizen or business owner of Atlanta, you have my attention. You are who I serve. Of course, when people visit to Atlanta, we have to make sure that they enjoy Atlanta, that they're safe, that if they can afford to enjoy themselves here, of course. But I just want everybody to have the proper resources to be safe. And if you are an immigrant, a legal immigrant, undocumented immigrant, that you have the proper resources to make sure if anything happens, that you have the proper resources to make sure if your kids are citizens or you have family members that are citizens, or if you're just here illegally or undocumented, you have legal counsel to handle your situation as best as possible. That's all I can guarantee as a city official, hopefully potentially or eventual elected city official. That's all I can say around immigration. Anybody who's a resident, citizen, constituent, or business owner in Atlanta, specifically my district, I am here to serve you. That is who I serve. But of course, like I said, if anybody's illegal or undocumented, I just hope we can provide you with the information to have you, best situated for your situation.
Doc, you're muted, Doc.
What's going on, man? How you doing today? Just want to tell somebody, Pan is like one track mind in the chat. Pan, we ain't no puppets. I'm not gonna say you got immigration on your mind so heavy. That's not the only thing I'm gonna ask him. Man, running for city council. What's up, Steven? Tell some people about your ties to your district and why they should vote for you. Your ties to that community.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a unique perspective or upbringing through this community. So I was born in a city called East Point, which touches this district, which touches Southwest Atlanta. That's where Outkast is from. So a lot of people just connect Southwest Atlanta and East Point together. But my parents moved down to Henry County, which is about 35 minutes south of Atlanta. And then they split when I was around 12 or 13. And my dad moved back to the area right by Greenbrier Mall, which is the mall Outkast used to hang out, where Crisscross was discovered. Very historic. My first Chick-fil-A ever was in Greenbrier Mall. But my dad moved back right beside it. And I've been back and forth really my entire life because he also worked downtown for Bronner Brothers, like I said. So Southwest Atlanta, we have a saying that when you get out of Atlanta, you're in Georgia. So growing up in Henry County, but also being with my dad in Southwest Atlanta, I always understood the dynamics of like what country Georgia was and what Black excellence in Atlanta was. I had both views, and I've been growing up. That's what made me appreciate Atlanta and specifically Southwest Atlanta so much, by living right by Greenbrier Mall or going to college, riding the MARTA from my home, walking down to the MARTA stop, riding MARTA to school and to my job in Midtown, understand how city transit worked, why all the Black stores in Greenbrier. And I worked at that Kroger on Headland right across from the mall. So, and then, build a relationship with friends. And if you look at my social media, my personal social media, Steve Ozone 4, was created when my dad moved up there and I was just sitting in Atlanta for a while. I was like, man, I love it here. And I just created the name Steve Ozone 4 because we also sit in that police district. That's what zones are in Atlanta. We rep about the police district. So, so my ties to the community, like I said, I've been here since 13, firmly planted since 2008. When I attended college and lived with my dad, and then got my own spot in the same apartment complex, and I've been here ever since. And just been a community advocate. Like I said, I've been in music for the past 11, 12 years. So my professional life has been more in the creative space, but people always know me. I'm always out cleaning up the neighborhood and really just taking personal initiative. I even started substitute teaching APS and in Clayton County, really, to help, even before I decided to run. My wife's a teacher and a military vet. Mom's a teacher. And I just really do anything to help my community like that I can. And that's one thing about me is personal responsibility. I hope to be a servant as an elected official, but personal responsibility for me is a big thing.
All right. Another thing, a lot of discussion about people has been they vote for officials and government officials, and they can't trust these people to use their vote for their best interest. Why can these people trust you to use your vote in the best interest of their district?
Yeah, easy. I think my reputation speaks for itself. But not running for city council, but even on my campaign, you can't find a smut on my rep. Like, I would love for anybody to find me snaking somebody or being dishonest or not being transparent, that's you can't find it. It doesn't exist. So for me, I think it's easy for me to like, you can just ask around. If you don't know me, just ask around. Like, you won't find really a negative thing anybody say about me, except that I may be too loyal to the Falcons. But but also the way that I maneuver throughout the city and in my life is I'm so accessible that I promise you, nobody's ever seen a politician move like me. Like, I don't talk about my competitors. I don't run that kind of campaign, but I will say I'm at places they will never be, because I just believe in serving all of our community. And I'm not saying they're not going to places, they're not talking to specific people, but when I show up to certain places, I know they're not going to be there because I don't know what I would put words in their mouth, but I can only assume they can think they're not going to vote, or they think they're not going to contribute to their campaign, or it just could be a waste of time. But for me, I just believe in serving every part of our community, no matter who you are, no matter what your age is, what your demographic is, what part of town you come from. And I'm just accessible. And even in my campaign, it exemplifies that, because people tell me I don't know who my council person is. I've never even seen an Atlanta politician. Like, so the fact that I'm a candidate and they're running into me and they can talk to me, and even my friends are calling me like, bro, I've never had access to someone in politics like this. I'm like, this is the entire point. It shouldn't be like that. Your politicians should be at your barbecues, should be at your kids' birthday parties, should be at the elementary school graduations. Like, you should be actively in the community and not just operating from the pseudo ivory towers. So for me, and you can hold me accountable that way. You should see me at the gas station and be like, hey, I saw you at that city council meeting yesterday. I didn't like what you said. And I should be able to hear you out so I can go back to City Hall and be a true representation for the people that I serve.
All right, last thing for me is there's thousands of ways to create change. I mean, there's so many I can't come up with. What made you decide, in the climate that the world is, that our country is today, what made you decide to choose to be a politician?
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to serve in politics. I was giving myself 40. I was like, I'm gonna retire from music, and I wanted to get a Grammy. I was like, politics is gonna be my next endeavor. I didn't know if it was gonna be Congress, mayor, city council, but for the past year or so, I really kind of honed in on like, yeah, I think city council is a good step. And then it just happened to be my city council member is going to be city council president. I was like, wow, it was 4 years too early. I'm 35. I said I was gonna do it at 40. But that was just, to me, some sort of divine timing to where I was like, okay, I want to serve here. And the reason I chose politics is because you know how you or Toni Morrison says, if you feel like a book hasn't been written that you want to read, like, you write it. And I kind of took that approach to politics. It's like, you're watching the national landscape, and I know I'm running for local politics, but this includes local politics. And I'm just like, I feel like there's never been someone like me. And when I maneuver around my city and I talk to people, it seems like they're hungry for someone like me. And I just figured, like, there's no better way to serve at this current moment than to get into politics and truly show what's possible when you have someone to serve the people like me.
For sure. Kamal?
All right, my first question is, what is your political affiliation?
Well, this position is nonpartisan. So I'm a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. So
Okay.
I'll say that I'm a registered Democrat. That's why I'll say for the record. But this race is nonpartisan. So you don't run as a party. But hey, like I say, I can't say I'm running on transparency and not keep it above. So
All right. Next question. How many Black Americans is in your district?
I don't know. Yeah, there's no demographic that I've seen to tell you about Black Americans. All I can tell you is that my district is 96% Black, and it's 2% white, 2% other. That's all the demographic statistics that I've seen.
Okay, and are you trying to move up the political chain?
No, my goal is to serve in this seat, even if it's just for one term. I truly want to make an impact on this term, this seat, to where, like I say, even if it's just 4 years, I want to walk away and people be able to say, dog, I want to make it hard for the next person to come after me. They're like, Mr. Councilman Dingle did all that. I got to do that. Like, that's my goal, to really impact people's material conditions, and they can really feel the impact of when I was on the seat. So this is my goal, my pure goal right now.
Are you able to, like, pass policies?
Yeah, so Atlanta City Council, we're like the Congress of, like, the mayor's the president, we're the Congress. So we create legislation, we determine the budget. Not we yet, but City Council just passed the biggest budget in Atlanta history of $3 billion. So yeah, we determine what department, how much gets who. I mean, who gets what, and like I said, we call them ordinances and resolutions. So that's the legislation, like a bill on the federal level. So yeah, we are the city's Congress.
Okay, and what policies are you going to get through that's going to help out Black Americans?
Yeah, that's one thing that's lucky for me is, like I said, I don't have the statistics of Black American versus Black Jamaican and all of that. But with my district being basically all Black, any concern for my district kind of it serves Black folks. So my thing is definitely keeping us safe. And I know we got that Cop City. Everybody asked me about Cop City, but it's here now. You can't boycott it and do all that. It's here. But I am definitely militarization of the police. And definitely working with community efforts to make sure we're safe. And even like you got to work with the police, that we fund them and etc. But making sure that we have relationships to where nobody is harmed when it comes to being policed. Secondly, is educating our children, man. I think, and if I can sum it up, because I know you asked about policy, but this is my theory. This is my first time saying I kind of been sitting with it. I want to make Atlanta as safe as Ireland. I want to make us as literate as Cuba, but then keep our culture of Atlanta. Like that is like, if I could sum up, and I want to pass policies to ensure that. So with education, I am big on literature. I'm sitting in my office, but I can't, if you want to see the computer, I got books everywhere, man. And then go to my kids' rooms, every room is filled with books. And I just want to help. I'm not running for school board, but anything I can assist with making sure that our students and our children are equipped with all the proper resources to educate themselves, man. I think of any area, community, city, district that values education shows they have a vision for itself, and Atlanta definitely needs to be at the top of that. And then I'm on the economic development and infrastructure. There's no reason why Buckhead, Midtown, downtown can have all these beautiful streets painted, paved, and all this, and Southwest Atlanta not get that same thing regarding infrastructure. So first thing I want to do is walk around with every department in the city that at least has something to do with keeping it clean and pristine, and making sure every stop sign, every light, every street is paved and painted, it's clean, and we're just as pristine as those upscale parts of town like a Buckhead or Midtown. And then economic development, like I said, is making sure we have job opportunities that people can afford, can work in this neighborhood or this community, can live in this community, and also enjoy amenities in this community without being displaced or their property taxes going up. So just creating policies that make Atlanta affordable, that make us safe, educate our children, and make sure we have the best of the best, just like the other parts of town that get what they need at the drop of a hat.
For sure.
Okay, or would you be willing to, I got more questions. Would you be willing to pass policies that help get Black people an anti-Black hate crime bill? And what is your stance on cash reparations?
So the first question, I actually saw Killer Mike say something like this. So Atlanta is such, and I know if you've seen the statistics, they're saying we're not as Black as we used to be. But I mean, if the facts are the facts, cool, but that's just not my experience. Again, in my district, it's 96% Black. So and Killer Mike said a thing that we're like, growing up, you always feel like you could hold your Black or your elected officials, police chief or whatever, you could hold them accountable, because you could just be like, I don't like that N-word over there, because that was it was somebody who you knew. It was somebody who grew up like you, who you could have access to. So with that, Atlanta, I don't know if we necessarily need that, because we're so Black, because we've had always Black leadership. We don't need to create a policy or legislation around that, because we, at least since I've been alive, since Maynard Jackson, of course, we've kind of always been Black led for the most part. But then to your part about cash reparations, I don't know what much municipal officials could do about it. I would support it, but I think that's more of a state and federal issue. But I'm definitely for it. I don't know why I would be against it. So, but I just don't know how much power I would have on the municipal level.
You'd be surprised with the politician. I know you're running locally, but people say they'll be like, oh, I just want to run locally and don't do nationally. And then down the line, 5 years later, they running for a bigger position. So I want to know where your mindset at, brother. You feel me? That's 100%. Why I have Black hate crime bill and also cash reparations, because I want to, no matter what politician come on here, if I'm on here, I'm going to ask those questions. You feel me? Because I want to know more about the mindset. And then also, we got one more question from our African representative, Bawana. He wants to know where your lineage from, bro.
All Black American. Yeah,
okay.
Black American. That's all I know.
All right. Thank you for answering that question. Bawana, you got your answer.
All right, for sure. So, Steven, thank you for answering all those questions. We'll get to like the style of the show that we do. So basically, Nora has a show tomorrow, so I want to add something spicy. And Trump. This is actually the anniversary of Trump's assassination attempt. And I feel like that with that happening made people forget about some of Trump's indiscretions and basically